Hello, and welcome back once again to another episode of Focus. And don't worry, if you think you're going to have a slow weekend, I got you. The world's largest iceberg has finally run aground after 30 long years, over 30 in fact. And let's see, what could this mean for the little island of the continental shelf of South Georgia? As I say, Earth is an amazing place, and there's a lot to explore and a lot to discover. So, A23A, the Megaberg, a Game of Thrones style ice wall, has run aground near the British Island. The nearly 1 trillion ton block of ice known as the A23A iceberg has grounded on the continental shelf of South Georgia Island. A23A, the world's largest and oldest iceberg, has run aground on the continental shelf near the island of South Georgia, scientists say. The Megaberg, which is twice the size of Greater London and has been compared to a Game of Thrones style ice wall, grounded about 56 miles or 90 kilometers off the British Overseas Territory in the South Atlantic on March 1st and hasn't moved since. The nearly 1 trillion ton block of ice was carved from Antarctica's Filchner ice shelf in 1986 and then remained grounded on the ice floor of the Weddell Sea for more than 30 years. The British Antarctic Survey, or the BAS, said since 2020 it has been drifting with southern ocean currents towards South Georgia, which is home to elephant and fur seals, king penguins, and unique birds. The warmer waters and actions of waves and tides are expected to break it up into smaller icebergs and eventually melt. But in the meantime, fishing vessels could face potentially hazardous conditions from the smaller icebergs in the region. But scientists said nutrients stored up from the grounding and the melting of the Megaberg could boost food for the region, including local penguins and seals, prior to contrary thoughts before. The British Antarctic Survey said it has closely been watching the iceberg and tracking its progress since 2020, and particularly since 2023 when it moved out of the Weddell Sea into the wider South Atlantic. For months late last year, the Megaberg, or the iceberg, was trapped in a Taylor column which kept it spinning in one spot. It is now grounded on the continental shelf with its nearest point some 45 miles or 73 kilometers from land and has not moved since March 1st, the BAS said. Dr. Andrew Myers, an oceanographer at the British Antarctic Survey, said if the iceberg stays grounded, we don't expect it to significantly affect the local wildlife of South Georgia. In the last few decades, the many icebergs that end up taking this route through the South Ocean soon break up, disperse and melt, he said. Commercial fisheries have been disrupted in the past, however, and as the Megaberg, or the iceberg, breaks into smaller pieces, this might make fishing operations in the area both more difficult and potentially hazardous. A map of South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands shows a really intriguing picture, and I urge everyone to check it out. He said scientists are keen to see how the iceberg will affect the local ecosystem. Nutrients stored up by the grounding and from its melt may boost food availability for the whole regional ecosystem, including for charismatic penguins and seals, he said. He said satellite tracking shows the iceberg appears to be maintaining its structure and has not yet broken up into smaller chunks as previous megabergs have done. Icebergs of this size are relatively rare, Dr. Myers said, saying it had taken almost a whole day for the RRS Sir David Attenborough, the research vessel the public famously voted to call Boaty Boatface, to sail along its length on a research trip in 2023. It looks like a towering wall emerging from the ocean, stretching from the horizon to horizon, he said. such as A23 are a completely normal part of the life cycle of the Antarctic ice sheets, human-driven climate change is causing melting and loss of mass of the ice shelves, he added. But like I always say, Earth is an amazing place. If not for the people and the amazing things they do, we'd never be able to know about such an amazing thing like this. Imagine waking up one day, looking out of your window and expecting to see that vast blue ocean, and instead you see an ice wall as tall as the eye can see, stretching for as far as the eye can see. You'd think you woke up and someone cast a magic spell and surrounded you in a giant ice wall. As always, thanks for tuning in once again to another episode of Focus. And if you got the time, stick around as always for, the thoughts and facts. But as always, take care, have a great weekend, and have a great day. See ya. But as always, if you're still around, thanks for tuning in and sticking around for another thoughts and facts section. And I mean, as always, these stories, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, are absolutely incredible. These things don't happen very often. But before I get lost in my thoughts, I'm just going to talk about a few of the facts mentioned in the article itself, like the restoration of the ecosystem. And if you've been tuning in, you would have, listened to a previous episode that I mentioned, actually talking about this same iceberg prior to its collision to, I won't say the South Georgia island, but it hit the continental ice shelf. And from what I can tell, it's grounded about just it seems to be about 200 or 300 meters deep water. So obviously, like I said before, the penguins, the island itself, feeding habitats for the fauna on the island, is going to be largely unaffected. But the fact that this iceberg, which is twice the size of Greater London, I might remind you, which is over 1,200 square kilometers. That's quite huge. Like I said, someone could live an entire life on the time it took this iceberg to break off and reach what some would say its final destination, but that's still yet to see. And the only reason I say this is because this has happened once before. Like I said, this is actually a rare occasion, but it's actually happened twice now. They say lightning never strikes twice, but twice now in and around the same area, region, and island. And the last time this happened, the iceberg itself did not manage to ground itself. It more or less ricocheted off the two islands and continued along its way. This one, however, seems to have, like I said, embedded itself in what seems to be, as they said, the continental ice shelf in about 300, 200 meters deep water. So, and it's about 59 miles off the coast of the island. So, the intriguing facts about this right now. This glacier, or this iceberg, forgive me, and even in the last episode I kept mentioning and saying that the iceberg would increase the temperatures. Forgive me, I was obviously very wrong. I meant lower the temperatures. So whilst this iceberg was sitting in the Weddell Sea, grounded, circulating, going round and round in circles, it was lowering, constantly lowering the temperature, or if in any case, keeping it steady. So right now you have an ice wall which is over 30 meters tall and over 1,000 kilometers long. Obviously, when you approach this iceberg, the temperature is going to start to decrease. The closer you get to it, it's going to feel like you're standing in a fridge. It's going to feel like sub-zero temperatures. So, what does this do for the surrounding temperature of the water on the island or around the island? It is going to lower that temperature around the island significantly. Now, for the underwater fauna or flora as well, plant species that actually live on the seafloor, depending on whether or not they're used to extreme temperatures like that, this iceberg will effectively kill all those things in the immediate vicinity underneath it. Although Earth and planets and everything on it is very adaptable, so they could survive. And not only that, the amount of nutrients that's going to be released from this island, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, this iceberg is bigger than many islands in the Caribbean. Yeah, by far. You could put an island into this at least once or twice or 3 times. I'm not exaggerating, but that's besides the point. I digress. What I'm trying to say is the amount of nutrients that's going to be released by this island of ice is going to completely reinvigorate and renew the area. The amount of wildlife growth, bacterial growth, plankton, phytoplankton, everything is going to go crazy. Now, I don't mean to say I told you so, but I did. Like I said, this is a perfect example. 2025, Earth comes alive. Earth begins to heal itself. And this iceberg can help renew the ecosystem around it. Overfishing especially. I know the article itself did mention the fact that for fishermen, obviously, ships passing in the area, when this iceberg eventually does start to break apart, it's going to leave what will be effectively an ice minefield in the area, which will be detrimental. But the fact is, by the time it is finished, the amount of growth that the area would see will be unbelievable. The fact that even the iceberg itself is going to break up and make the entire area slightly more hazardous for fishermen, what that means entail is that fish have much more room to breathe, much more room to grow, breed. So once again, restoring the entire ecosystem. Overfishing is a problem, and obviously, we do it sustainably now. But this is the earth giving an area itself, perfect breathing room. But as always, I don't like to take up too much of your time. As I always say, our history is pretty vast and we're making it pretty fast, and in the grand scale of it all, what is 13 minutes of your time? So, before I leave you and to have a fantastic weekend, I want to just pose one more question. And as always, it's slightly out there, but this is actually quite possible and quite real. It's not impossible, it's not highly impossible, it's highly probable. So, you've heard about all of these things: woolly mice, woolly mammoths, saber-toothed tigers. Yeah, if you've just heard around, you'd know what I'm talking about. But let me just give you a brief. Basically, scientists want to bring back extinct species, and they found frozen samples of, I won't say dinosaurs, woolly mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, frozen. So let's look at this over 1,000 kilometer, 30 meter tall wall of ice. What could be hiding inside of it? What could actually be frozen in it? I mean, isn't anyone as curious as I am? I mean, I'm not talking about end of the world apocalypse thing, meaning it's going to release some dinosaur or some long lost whatever, something we couldn't have even seen or imagined from Cretaceous, Jurassic, whatever period. But I mean, there could actually be a lot of fossils in there of, let's say, dinosaurs, plesiosaurs, mosasaurus. I mean, some of us might know what that was, but these were some of the largest underwater reptiles ever recorded on the planet, in the planet's history. So, would it be possible to find an intact or semi-intact dinosaur skeleton in there? Some kind of aquatic dinosaur. Like I said, it would be awesome to see a plesiosaur or a mosasaurus. Or, in fact, it's just hit me. Imagine some kind of frozen recognition to see what a megalodon actually looked like. Could you envision that? Because everything, deteriorates over time. Sharks especially are mainly cartilage, apart from their jawbone and their teeth. So, getting a complete skeleton or having any real idea of how large these things actually were is limited. But this iceberg is literally a time capsule from who knows how many millions or thousands of years ago. The discoveries that could actually be made from this is actually unbelievable. But I know I said nothing apocalyptic and dangerous to that level, but actually there is one real possible threat that could come out of this. This iceberg could have been frozen from, like I said, thousands, possibly millions of years ago. The bacteria that could be frozen, the viruses that could be trapped, the parasites that could still be dormant can all be released. So whereas the island and the surrounding ecosystem could see a rapid growth and renewal in the area, if there is some form of or massive loads, and I can say a massive amount of bacteria can possibly be released from this, depending on how adaptable our current ecosystem, the genome of certain species are. Whether or not they're still compatible, whether or not they survive is another story. I don't know if any of you have ever heard, everyone talks about, I can't say everyone, but the oldest sharks known on the planet actually live in Antarctica, and they're blind. The only reason they're blind, however, is because there is a parasite that actually feeds on their eyeballs, and eventually they go blind. So they're not born like that. It's a parasite that inhabits the water of the surrounding area. So, that being said, as always, painting a picture so you can follow this train of thought. With the possibility of parasites, bacteria, and viruses being released that could still be dormant, that could still present a current danger to. Now I'm going to go what could be global. But understand what I'm saying. These scenarios, or this scenario, this hypothetical conversation that we're having, is just a probability. Not a highly likely one, but a probability. Depending on how bad whatever virus, bacteria, or, like I said, parasite spreads, develops in this area, it could spread to the wider world. Fur seals, penguins, birds. These are perfect points of transmission. But like I said, I'm not trying to be like, the apocalyptic guy. I'm just talking about the real things that could actually exist. And the reason I say this is not because it's some wild thought I'm having. If you've been reading the news, you've seen the articles, I mean, there was a big thing about it not too long ago when I think it was Russian scientists revived worms that they found in the permafrost, frozen for millions of years. And not only that, remember when scientists drilled into a frozen lake bed that had been sealed off for what they estimated to be at least 30,000 years? When they drilled into that isolated ecosystem, there was still living bacteria, fish, small, how do you call it, exoskeletons, not exoskeletons, blah, 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 blah. Sauropods, not sauropods, crabs and crayfish. The point is, they found life after 30 years of isolation, or 30,000 years of isolation. And like I said, the Russian scientists, they managed to defrost, thaw out these long lost pathogens and parasites, and they came back to life. But you know, Earth is an amazing place. There's a lot going on, and sometimes we just need to take a minute to focus. If not for the people, we wouldn't have gotten this far to begin with. Some say it might be pure luck. I say it's because Earth is just the best. It's all that we got right now, for now. But as always, thanks for tuning in, and take care. Have a great day. Let no one destroy your zen. Let no one destroy your peace. And if you're not having a great day, there's still time to make it so. So, for links to the article, check out the episode details. For more stories like this, check out future episodes. And you know what? If you want to know a little heads up for the next episode, sailors not included. DARPA's got an amazing new invention. Not so much, but you know. Take care.